see.
Hi.
Hey, ladies. Hey, so just for everybody watching right now, it's a technical glitch. We had a minute or two to get it sorted out. It seems like we're sorted out now. Will you two say for me, we are the D'Ambrosio twins, and you're watching the Break It Down show?
Hey, everybody. We're the D'Ambrosio twins, and you're watching the Break It Down live show.
Yes, see, we are live. Hey, ladies, it's so great to have you on. I love folks who are here. Gosh, I hate to even say earlier in your career because you've almost been at it 20 years now. I mean, before like too long. You two started so young that it's really remarkable. When you go to a party and someone says, "Oh, what do you do?" What do you guys say?
Well, we say that we're actresses.
We were the actresses.
But then now I say that I'm also writing. So that's what I also add to the table now. I think
add to the table.
I add to the table. You also say that you were writing too and you want to be a director. But I think I kind of now introduce what I want to do in the future when someone asks what I want to do or what I'm doing. I don't know why I started doing that, but I'm going to keep doing that. I like doing that.
And you know how if you say, "Oh, I'm an actor," you have to qualify it, right? And again, you two are so young. Like, it isn't often that the little person in the show stands out, where you're like, "Oh, yeah, that's right, of course," because your face changes so fast. So do you have to qualify and be like, no, I really make my living. I've been on every major network. We've been on all kinds of things. How do you qualify what an actress is when you guys say it?
For me, I just say I'm an actress. I mean, people can search me up if they want to. I think just saying you're an actor is
We've never had
enough.
People question us, though.
Yeah,
I've never had it, thankfully.
I just think saying that you're an actor, I think that qualifies enough. I mean, I'm like, hey, you want to go to my IMDb? That helped my star rating. Sure, go check it out.
Also, because we are located in Hollywood, I don't think that many people question us that much.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Maybe we've never been asked that question, so who knows now? I don't know.
Well, it is one of those things, though, and you're right. In Hollywood, and you guys, are born and raised, like you guys know the area. But if you were to go to a dinner party in some other state and say that, I interview a lot of actors who have a varying degree of success, right? Maybe they're indie and they make their own movies, but they have another job on the side. Maybe they're a legend and they've been in everything with everyone. They're all actors, just those different levels. I'm always fascinated by how that works, how you communicate it. But it sounds like because you're in the industry and you live where the industry is, it's just accepted.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You don't introduce yourself as musicians, though, and yet you have an entire album put out.
Oh, I knew this was going to be brought up. Okay. So this is a whole story. So we're doing music during this time when we lost 2 of our front teeth. So, we can't really do that many auditions or commercials that much until they sort of grow in more. So we decided to do more music and we were really enjoying it. And then we were releasing songs. We released the I Got You Covered album. And then right before the pandemic, we did a remastered version of one of our older songs called On My Own. And we were about to release it. We were going to film it in the summer. It's going to be a really fun bop. And then the pandemic happened. And so there was never really a good time to release it and also to film the video. And it was a really scary time, and it still is. So we sort of just put that on the back burner and started focusing more on our education and acting opportunities. And hopefully one day we'll go back to it. But right now we're just on this path. And I think I'm actor first, then a musician, but I love music too. So yeah.
That's great. And so literally because it was hard to do headshots because of your 2 front teeth growing in.
Yeah.
It was cute though, but it was good.
I loved it. But casting was a little bit it was a little hard because I would need to have I had a flipper. And I think after I'm just going to share a little fun story. So we had this flipper when our front 2 teeth were missing. And this was at the beginning of that. And Mom was like, okay, I'm going to get you guys a flipper. And basically a flipper, it's like 2 fake teeth. You put it there so it looks kind of real. So we got a call back for this yogurt audition. And I'll never forget, this is the last time that my mom was like, okay, you're going to stop with this for a little while. We go in for the callback and they're like, we want you to eat the yogurt. Now, you can't eat or drink with the flipper in your mouth. So I'm thinking to myself, an 8-year-old, I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Do I tell them these aren't real? Like, what do I say? So we went in and we ate the yogurt and it looked not pretty. And
it was
I
in the
walked out.
thing. Oh, it was bad.
It was bad. And I walked out. My mom noticed I had like little yogurt here. And she's like, okay, we have to stop this because this is not going to look good.
So we never got that. But you know what? That's okay.
Yeah, it's commercial, but it's okay.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, how often? I mean, you guys aren't going to open calls at this point now, right? You've got an agent that's sending you things that you guys are already the lead dog for, right? Or are you guys out auditioning openly?
So no matter what, sometimes that'll happen, but most times we still get an audition, or we have to send in a self-tape now because there's no more physical auditions anymore right now. So it's mostly just self-tapes or Zooms. Sometimes we'll get scripts sent to us, and then we
have to send in a tape.
Yeah. So it just really depends on the project.
Right. And then do you think you two will act as one character anymore now that you're big? Or do you think that those days are over too?
Oh, well, thank you, first of all, for saying that. I never considered myself that, but thank you. But no, I don't think we can play that off anymore. I just think we look identical, but we look a little different too. And when we were younger, we looked the exact same. Like, it was so hard to tell us apart. But now we just have a little bit of differences here and there. So I don't think we can play that off anymore.
I think we can play twins as two different people rather than one person that switches on and off. Because that would be a little difficult for people. And also we just don't look too much. We still look alike. Don't get me wrong, but not like alike. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And then you got like your first big role was on Young and the Restless. We've had Kate Linder on the show from Young and the Restless.
Oh,
she's the best. But you're all primed to anytime you want go back into that storyline because you have the evil twin sister thing ready to go, right? I mean, it's so spinnable and so Young and the Restless. Would you consider going and doing daytime drama again?
Absolutely, absolutely. We were young Summer Newman on Young and the Restless, so we were still young enough that people still know. So like in Europe, like they're still watching those episodes because it's still airing there. And people recognize us online too from Young and the Restless. So now because we are older and we don't look like babyface anymore, we can be our own characters now. And I would love to go back to Young and the Restless. I loved it there.
You two aren't even close to 20 years old yet, but you're getting to the age where I'm imagining work permit hours go up for you. Is that right? How does that work within SAG? Like, when does it go up to the next level, and when are you totally free to do as much work as you want?
So when I was younger, I didn't really know like the logistics of like the hours and stuff. But as I grew older, I think I learned that over a certain age, I want to say it's like 8 or 9, or no, it's 8, 9, or 10. I really have no idea. Yeah. It goes up from like, what is it, like 5 to like 7.
There's like a big time
There's
jump.
a big time jump that happens, and then every year it gets a little bit longer.
It's like every 2 weeks. I forgot. I don't know.
And so then because we are legal 18 now, we can work the 18 hours. Even though we still are a minor, but we are legal 18, so we can work those hours like adults do. And those hours, I don't know what it's at. I mean, it's more than 10. It's more than 10 minutes. I have no idea. I just go to set and I just do my thing.
Who takes care of you two then when you work? I mean, someone knows that. Someone's like, hey, by the way, we have to, because there are laws and rules for a reason, right? Is it the union rep on the film? Who handles that?
So maybe because we are legal 18, we are schooled out from set, but sometimes sets still have to legally hire a set teacher, and usually a set teacher watches, or like the first AD watches, or someone in production always is watching like the call sheet, and you're like, okay, here's the time.
Yeah, they call it the pumpkin time. You pumpkin out.
Kind of
like Cinderella.
Like Cinderella, time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you're waiting for a shot to be blocked out or lighting to be changed, is that part of your pumpkin time, or does that not count?
I just think by the time you like get into hair and makeup, or you arrive, when you clock in, that's your time. That's your time window. So that's why, a lot of shows, fun fact, they'll film like all of these like kid scenes, like kind of run them together. And then they'll do the later, the bigger, the longer adult scenes after they pumpkin out. Because then they don't have to worry about the laws and stuff. It's very like the producers behind the scenes, I give them props because they have to like
know the time,
really know the time, and like check it all the time. It's really crazy.
I love it. It's fascinating. That's why I'm asking these questions, because there's so much that goes on to keep young people working and not overwork them. What do you, I mean, like, are you seen as professionals by your peers who are adults and have been in this for decades? Or are you still kind of seen as like, baby actors, young actors? How do you think your peers see you?
I mean, I hope my peers see me as professionals. I mean, I am not like I'm not like, oh, I'm the best at it all. No, I'm still learning. I'm still growing as a person and as an actor. And I've always learned to learn from others too. And I hope that as I continue on in my career, I grow my network and people think of me as more professional. But honestly, when I went on set, I do my job and I always listen to direction. And I think that that factor should be something that is considered professional no matter what your age is. And people have called me professional, which I take that as a compliment, obviously.
Of course.
So just I still am considered a young actor, but I think that I have adult actor qualities that, like, it's like, your stuff and you're always on time and you just take everything really seriously. That's
but I mean,
mm-hmm.
That's a maturity level though. Is not common for someone your guys' age. Yes, someone might be very professional and advanced. They might be sometimes that way. But if you were to have grabbed me at 15 years old, and put me on a movie set, I probably would have been, a knucklehead most of the time. I probably wouldn't have showed up late, but prepared. Oh my gosh, not a chance, So there is, you two have to see a maturity difference professionally between your peers that I'm talking age peers now that aren't in a profession, that are, maybe kids don't even have jobs anymore, right? Like you two do, but people don't deliver papers. They don't work at Kentucky Fried Chicken anymore. They do other things. So do you see that amongst your age peers?
How's the best way I can answer this question?
I think now the job, I'm just trying to think of how I phrase this. I think now kids' jobs are being influencers, like posting on social media, getting followers, getting supporters, posting. I think that's what a lot of kids now consider a job.
Mm-hmm.
Not like,
it is a job. It is really a job, hard,
but I think that's nowadays what those kids on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, they're all
doing those things.
They're all doing those things. Yeah.
But also, I think that I don't even know how to answer this question because it's so hard. I mean, I feel like my sister and I, we worked really hard on our education. We value education. And I think that a lot of people my age are, especially during the pandemic, which I found really surprising, actually, were going out to parties and stuff. And they would always invite me out, but I'm like, you know what? I have work. I had to quarantine for 2 weeks and I'm just going to finish my schoolwork. I graduated 2 years early and I did that because I had time to sit at home and really focus on my work. And a lot of my friends, didn't take this time to work on themselves. They just went to party.
That's what they wanted to do.
That's what they wanted to do. And I fully support them, but I wanted to do something that will benefit me in the long run. And I think that people have come up to me and be like, oh my God, you're so mature for your age. Yeah. And I think living by that mentality to just get your stuff done and then you can party later on is something that considers me mature. But it's really, I love to party sometimes, don't worry. But like, I have a different mentality. That's all.
Well, you two are also marketable and you represent brands, Kellogg's, other brands like that. So when you go to a party, you can't just be a teenage girl, and like drink a few too many drinks or have someone take a picture. Because someone else is relying on your image to sell their product. And that's a big responsibility. And there's the fact that you go, hey, high school cost me money. I need to get the heck out of high school because every time, I have to go to school for something, right? So this is like that again, that's a degree of maturity that someone who's going to go off to college and do whatever, or they're going to go do a trade. God bless, nothing wrong with any of those things, but there's a different level of maturity to recognize that high school for you is not even a stepping stone anymore. It's just look, education's important, right? But you need to get it done and get out because you need to be marketable and go work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we finished this summer. We finished 2 years early. We graduated as sophomores, but I'm taking extra classes because I want to attend university. Yeah. So I'm taking extra classes, look better on my application, which is true. And I'm doing it to fulfill some more requirements. And
college applications are no joke.
And that's what I'm doing.
I feel sorry for myself.
Halloween, all I did was put makeup on. I filmed some videos and I was doing my college applications, which I got everything in, by the way.
Yeah, November 1st. Woo!
Everything in, woo. But that's what I'm doing. Like, I really don't. Last 2 years of Halloween, I stayed home and I did schoolwork.
Yeah.
That's just my life.
But later on, we'll have time to do everything else. But like, I just want to like get things done.
And I think that's why, I think that's maybe why a lot of brands like us, because although we do love to hang out with our friends and we do like to post that we're at a party and stuff, we really try to focus on education, which is, maybe not all social media influencers post about it and they do value it, but that's not what a lot of brands see. So we post like, hey, we read. A lot of people don't do that in my age. And so I think that's why people might appreciate us and our brand and why people want to work with us. But I'm just speaking from what I think. I don't know.
Yeah. One of the brands you represent is Sarah Jessica Parker's clothing line. And this, she was a young actress as well. She did a show called Square Pegs where she played this nerdy girl who was not in any way cool or fashionable, right? Fast forward 20 years or whatever it was, and she goes on to become this icon of fashion, right? Mm-hmm. There's so much growth and expansion for people. When you look back in your career and it's 50 years from now, which is an unimaginable number for someone as young as you are, you won't even be 70 yet.
I'll be
66.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you were like, I've been in the business for 64 years.
Oh my gosh, you're making me so scared. I don't like rushing time.
Well, just wait. It goes faster and faster.
Oh
no! When you think about all of this, right? What does it mean for your decisions? You have to be in the here and the now because this is where we live, right? But there are bad decisions that can be made. There's things that can impact you, and you look back and you're just like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I got." How do you handle the amount of future you have in front of you, and then how fast? Look, in my lifetime, social's changed completely, and now it seems like things you might have emailed or said 5 years ago can get you into a lot of career-defining trouble, right? So, how do you handle the pressure of the future?
I just let it come.
I don't.
I just let it happen.
I don't manage
it. I just there's so many like things that could happen like in the future. Like, it's so crazy to think about like, oh, what am I gonna pass down to my kids when I'm older? And it's like, that's a crazy thought. Like, oh, am I going to raise them the same way I was raised? Which I
yes.
Was. But like those questions are crazy to think about. And I'm only like 16 years old. Like, that's bizarro. I don't know. I can't even handle the future. Like, I can't even handle tomorrow.
I know.
I'm going to do tomorrow, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. But I can't even handle tomorrow. But I'm just saying, there's so much that I want to do in life. And there's so much that I want to achieve that I'm just flying by the seat of my pants. That's what I'm just going to say.
That's all right. You are 16 after all, right? You don't have to have all this stuff figured out. And it's probably good that you don't. By the way, anybody who wants to look, DeAmbrosioTwins.com. You also have a YouTube channel that's got like 12 million spins making me look bad. An Instagram channel with all kinds of fun stuff. It looked like you two did have a good time, at least a little bit, for Halloween, because I saw some costumes and everything else on there. How do you meter out your fun time? Because you are professionals and you do work hard. Look, you're working on your education, you're working on your acting things, so you get to have fun, but you've got to be very disciplined about when and how. So talk about that.
Well, first, we really schedule our time. Like, I'll work hard for I do a lot of my schoolwork and work ahead for like maybe 2 weeks straight. And then I get to like have a sleepover with one of my best friends, then
you're making that sound way worse than it is.
No, but I'm just saying, like, I try to focus on a lot of my things. And then when I get through all that, and then I have a little bit of fun, and then I go back to work because I'm trying to get my education stuff done, and I'm trying to learn and doing my college stuff. I'm trying to act, and I'm starting to write my own projects and want to direct some short films. So I really have to schedule out my time. And I think of it as getting my stuff done, like actually doing the stuff, might be hard. But when it's done, that's the fun part. Then that's fun.
When it's checked off, it's fun.
When it's like you gotta check it off your list, that's good to me. And time management. My mom's a really good structure of our time.
Yeah,
she
we have a
teaches
list.
me a lot.
Is your mom's job taking care of you too? Is that her main thing?
She does a lot of things. She's a nurse. She used to run a recovery room, so that's why she's also really good about like time management. And you have to do this, and then okay, you'll have this break, and then you'll do this. Now I'll keep you awake and alert to do this. Like like my mom, she ran a recovery room when she was young, and that kind of set us on the same path in terms of knowing how to do like our time management and our business stuff. She handles our business. She helps my dad, and she does some other stuff and some charity work. So that's what my mom does, and she's chill. It was her birthday a couple days ago. So
hey, happy birthday, Mom!
Happy birthday!
Happy
Where
birthday,
she is.
Mom!
Woo! Scorpio.
Scorpio.
Somewhere.
What would you say is your mom's hobby? What does she love to do? And don't say laundry because I don't make your mom mad.
Oh, no, she doesn't
no,
do
she's
laundry.
not like
No,
laundry.
she loves to watch Christmas
movies
movies in
And
October.
all year round.
All year
round. That's her favorite thing to do. Play with our dogs.
Oh
boy,
yeah.
does she love to play with our dogs.
She loves going on TikTok, and she
loves
for
going on TikTok.
hours. It's so cute. She's
She's like,
laughs.
oh, look at this dog video. And I'm like, that's so cute. And that's what
And what about the two of you? When you're not working, what do you want to do? What are your pastimes?
Reading.
Read.
I love
read
to
a lot.
read. Like whenever I'm like doing a lot of stores, I'm like, I'm gonna take a break for the night, and I just read for like hours, and I stay up until like midnight or 1 a.m. just to read a book, which I love to do. I've actually read 118 as of today books this year, and I wanted to 150. So
I read 50. I'm a slower reader.
But last year you read more. Last year you read more, but this
Yeah.
year I read a lot more than you. So
That's a lot of books either way. I mean, that's a book every other day. Come on.
it's a lot, but my mom really encourages us, and our family
Yeah.
really encourages us to read as much as we can, because I want to learn about everything, and I feel like I can't grow
like
as a
a
person.
sponge.
I'm like a
I
sponge.
wanna learn.
I want to grasp everything, and so I feel like I can't really get that opportunity if I don't learn, and I think that learning best is from reading, and so I read everything under the sun.
And because you're young lady actors, do you read Bronte and all the of the old English ladies who write? And because those movies get made constantly, it's like a guaranteed movie a year for you two forever.
I love Jane Austen.
Yeah.
Love Jane
Good.
Austen.
Pride and Prejudice.
Pride and
Yeah.
Prejudice. Oh my God, I just love her work, and I've like inspired like some of my like shorter films and projects off of hers, like very loosely, because you can't really like copy Pride and Prejudice unless you're making
That's
it.
top plagiarism.
But no, but they're like Pride. Like okay, here's my thing: Shakespeare and I feel like Jane Austen's works are like the root
The
of all
staple.
stories.
It's staple.
Or like
of
they're
every
like the
story.
root of all stories. I feel like every single movie or television show people watch, even if it's the slightest hint, it comes from either Shakespeare or Jane Austen.
You're right. Yeah.
Or Edgar Allan Poe too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some old Greek dudes in there too. Basically, every sitcom premise is 2,000 plus years old. I think it's Euripides is the guy that wrote all of the modern sitcoms. Basically, it's you can definitely learn a lot by reading. I'm curious because you're both, you're writing, you're getting more into writing, you're reading, so your writing improves. But I would imagine when people hire you to play roles, they want to have you play younger than what you're probably writing for yourself. How would you guys characterize that? That's just my guess, is that they see you and like, how about you guys play 11? And you're like, yeah, but I'm writing stuff for, a 20-year-old or whatever it is.
It's funny because I'm actually writing stuff that's for my age. And as time goes on, I feel like I'm getting younger and younger, because I started writing when I was 12. So I wrote stuff. No, hold on.
Wait.
No. Wait, let me justify my answer.
Figure out what that
Let me
meant.
justify my answer.
I don't know what that meant.
I started writing when I was 12. So when I was younger, I would write for like 15-year-olds, But now, ever since when I was 14, I would write for 13. And then when I was 15, I wrote for 14. So I feel like I'm going like a year younger than I am. You know what I mean?
Okay,
That's
that
my
makes more
answer.
sense. Because
That's
the
my
way you
answer.
worded that before, I was like,
But let me answer your second part of your question.
Yeah.
The project that we're being asked to, audition for, I mean, we cannot go out for 13-year-olds anymore. There's no way. Okay. And we can't go after 24-year-olds either. So we have to find like that happy medium in between. And we usually get auditions for 15, 16, 17, or 18. So that's a little bit like obviously younger or way older than us. So yeah, it just really depends on the project, you know. But my answer made sense.
Is your answer different? I mean, you're writing as well.
Yes, and I'm not gonna word it as by every year I get younger. Like I'm not gonna say that.
I write younger. I meant to say that, but you know what? That's okay.
Yeah, that was a little interesting. But anyways, no, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, Kiara. Yeah, it's the same thing. Like, you know, I write kind of what my age is, and I audition for kind of what my age is. The oldest that I've ever auditioned for was like 19, 20. Like that's the oldest I've ever auditioned for. And you know, if as I get older and older, and if I don't make the projects till I'm 24 and the project says there's going to be a 16-year-old, then I cast someone who's 16 to be that character. You know, it's not like I'm going to keep writing. Like if I envision a story to have the lead's going to be 10 years old, and I'm going to direct it at 16, I'm not going to like put my hair in pigtails and be like, I'm 10 years old. No, I'm going to hire someone who's, you know, perfect for the age. So, I mean, that's how I'm going to write when I get older. But yeah. That's the answer.
What about roles that you're probably a shade too young for, but they're going to arrive here really fast? Like let's say that the folks at Riverdale came to you, because that's very adult themed comic book stuff. So, I mean, at some point that is going to be a reality, if it's not already, that someone's going to be like, let's put you in this more of an ingenue or some kind of a sexually charged role. Is that something that you're concerned about at all, or what are your thoughts on these more adult themes? I mean, again, this is like a couple of years down the road, you're going to be looked at this, right?
I talked about this with my parents, and especially because being a part of Legal 18, people think that you are 18 because they don't really. If you're a minor, then you still have to say your age. But when people are legal 18 and they're younger, they sometimes forget to say their age. So people think that they are just 18 because they're legally 18, but that's not what it means. And a lot of these roles, you know, we actually we're really close to getting this role, and it was so heartbreaking. It was for twins. It was identical twins, and it was for the show. And the script, we'd never really read it, but they said it was a little bit more advanced, so there was just no way for us to do it. And I think that it's something that we have to think about more down the line. But right now, I'm just staying in my lane and being more like cutesy roles and stuff like that. I mean, for another project, I had to kiss someone, but like that's probably like the most for my age right now. But who knows what will happen years down the line? We'll see. Like television just keeps changing, you know. I mean, all these new shows are just having these things in it. So we'll see if it's increased or decreased by the time I'm that age.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I think that's a healthy attitude towards, you know, working with your parents to figure these things out. Obviously, the legacy of child actors is fraught with a lot of failure to become viable adults. I'm not saying you guys are on this path, but we've seen a lot of actors struggle with this and maybe even pass away because of the inability to handle everything that's thrown at them, right? How do you guys deal? I mean, you know that's a thing. So how do you guys deal with it to make sure you keep your heads on straight?
I have an answer. Okay.
Oh, you can go. I need a sign on this one.
I want to say some child actors, they always stay that person, and people always call them the character that they were, and they can't really outgrow that. And I think that the only way to push through that is to just for me, is to keep writing. And I think that if I make myself known in other ways, they'll be like, oh, she's a writer, you know, not, oh, she was this younger character. And so obviously it's great to be known as that character because that means that you meant something to a lot of people, but also, you know, adding more to yourself too and making yourself multidimensional. So I think that's one of the only ways. I mean, from my experience, it's different from other people that just want to be actors. But I think that for me, I just have to keep doing everything in the entertainment industry.
All right. That's good.
Is that your answer too?
Ditto.
Okay, good. All right. Now let me hit the ball back over to you. What about socially? I mean, that's professionally, right? You're going to try to evolve and not be, you know, like some people still call Ron Howard. They call him Little Ronnie Howard. And that's like, look, that's before Happy Days, which was in the 70s, right? And so people still call that. Some people, you're never going to change their mind. And it's a good thing as long as you can manage it. But there are so many challenges and pitfalls that can happen to someone who's young and in this industry. And there's plenty of success stories, right? But there's also a lot of people that struggle severely with their real life because they are lacking something, whether it's emotionally or chemically or whatever it is. How do you two work to protect yourself from that?
I think like for like relationships, is that like towards your like relationships and socially, like you're like, that's okay. So
Relationships, but also access, right? I mean, River Phoenix is dead in a gutter in front of the Viper Room, not to be shocking or anything, but he was young, but he also was at the Viper Room as a kid, you know, and there's so many stories of like this where people have, Lindsay Lohan had way too much access to way too much fun. And it has put her on an alternate life path than what she might have been if she had been able to handle that much. I mean, it's one thing to say, nah, I'm not going to go out tonight. But when it's like, oh my God, it's going to be Johnny Depp there too. And oh my God, I'm going to see this person. It can be really compelling to make a bunch of decisions that don't seem bad in the immediate thing. But then you look back 10 years and like, I just spent last 10 years, you know, doing things that weren't good for my career, my body, my health, anything like that.
Yeah. And, you know, I really, you know, my parents, they taught me a lot about stuff like that really young because they wanted to keep me aware because I started at 3 years old in the entertainment industry. And so my parents ever since then have kind of, you know, unless, I mean, when I was 3 years old, I wouldn't understand what they're saying. But like, as I got a little bit older, they kind of discussed with me about, you know, parties and what could happen and how to act when you're at a party, like at a social party with like cameras and stuff. Like they kind of like taught me like, okay, be careful for these certain things. Like, and I think knowing also the kind of vibe, like I get vibes really easily. Like when I meet someone and they walk through the door, I get an instant vibe if they're going to be like nice or if I feel like they're going to be a little bit off. Like I get that immediate vibe. And so when we get to like invited to some parties and, you know, I go to some and then there's some that's like a certain vibe I just have a feeling of like, maybe this is not for me. Yeah. Or if it's like, oh, I really want to go. But sometimes what happens is most of the time nowadays is I get invited to a party, but I'm doing something else. I'm doing something for schoolwork or I'm doing something else for work.
We still have to do like quarantine. Yeah. We still have to keep everybody safe. So
that happens where I'm like, oh, I can't go because I'm doing some work, but let's hang out another time. And sometimes I'm like, that's probably one of the biggest blessings that I didn't go to that party because I see some pictures or I see some videos and I'm like, maybe that was not, you know what I mean? Like maybe that was not the best place for me to be because I'm very much like the mom of my friend. Like I really, like I feel like when I turn 21, I still will be the designated driver. Like I'm very much, let's all be safe, you know. Yeah. Don't take candy from a stranger. Don't take drinks from a stranger. Don't leave your drink open. No. Like I'm very like I learned all this stuff very young.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling about things. And so I think that's how we kind of just pick where we should be and how that like, you know what I mean? Like I don't think.
And also, you know, to also add to that answer is that a lot of my friends are around my age, but they also think hanging out with older people are so cool. Because they get to seem like they're older when they're younger. They get to experience that side of life early.
Yeah.
And that's sort of like a disadvantage because, you know, hanging out with older people, they can sometimes force you to do things that you're not really that comfortable with. And fortunately, Bianca and I've never been in that situation. I've always known. I know I said fortunately.
Oh, they said unfortunately.
I said fortunately. No, I said fortunately. But Bianca and I have always tried to not fit into that quota and to never fall into that. And I've always just kept my friend circle really small, especially because as we keep doing more and more projects, people down the line that were rude to me are not coming back. Like, no. So I have like a core group of friends that over the pandemic I've sort of seen because I know that they've been keeping safe and stuff. And I trust them too. I mean, I trust most of my friends because I'm really like good
really trusty, which most of the time that works out in my favor, but sometimes it's
so I've learned
that's life.
To like be surrounded with people that are like in the same interests as me and they believe in the same things that I do. And so that's how I will continue to keep that part of, that question, you know, that question,
being careful, like where you go.
Yeah. Being careful where you go and not falling down the wrong path. That's my addition to your answer. Yeah.
I'm assuming you two live at home still?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
When do you want to move out? Because at some point you're going to move out, and will you move out together? Do you need to get the hell away from each other sometimes?
Well,
Okay,
we're
so-
applying to colleges right now, so it really depends on if because Kiara's applying to more schools on the East Coast than I am. So if she gets into a good school on the East Coast and that's where she wants to go, and I don't want to stay here, I'm gonna stay here.
But honestly,
Sorry, Kiara.
No, but no, you're okay. You're okay. I mean, I want to get into the right school, and that's what I keep saying to my parents, that I want to get into the right school. And if the right school is in LA, which I would preferably let's stay in LA.
And if we both get in, we'll move together. But if not,
it's whatever is the best school for me, and that's how I think of it. So I don't know if that's on the East Coast or the West Coast. I preferably would like to stay in LA because of the acting opportunities that I have here. But who knows what will happen, and who knows what I will decide on May 1st. So
but as of right now, being 16 and a half years old, staying with my parents sounds pretty good to me.
yeah,
Pretty good to me.
right now it's okay. Yeah.
I was young for my class. I didn't turn 18 until halfway into my freshman year of college, right? So I can tell you that you don't need my advice at all. But I'll just tell you this: if you guys stay closer to home, it's good, because when you go to, let's say you go to Yale and everything, there's no SAG rep to make sure that you're taken care of. There are very few adults around, and it can be a lot different of a place. And there's no rush. There is no right school. There's schools that don't fit, but I would just go see what school has a good vibe. See a bunch of schools so you know what a good vibe is, because you go to UCLA, you're like blown away by how great it is. But I'll tell you, here's a funny story. My daughter, who's just a little older than you, she's graduated and has her own career and everything now, but not that far ahead, right? We were going to schools. We went to Pepperdine. She's like, wow, Pepperdine doesn't even fit my academic things, but wow, it's Pepperdine. And then we went to UCLA, and she was blown away again. And so we went to Loyola Marymount, which is also an incredible campus on the beach and everything else. She's like, ugh, it's just too much. And so, not because Loyola was no good, but she was just kind of worn out from the day because it was so much stuff. So definitely go see a bunch of schools, and don't be afraid to take classes that you get A's in. Just keep finding A's, because you'll find out that those are the things you really love to do. And let's say acting isn't in your future. Maybe it's something else. Maybe you're going to become an English professor or something like that. You'll know that by going to school and just you don't have to get graduated in 4 years. And you can always look, your actresses, you're making money. You might be like, you know what? Actually, college is too expensive. I'm going to go make money, and I'll go to college. Don't worry about a path. Just go and get the experience because going to school is about the people you meet, learning how to become an adult of sorts, and taking those things and cobbling together a life, I think.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. Yeah, I mean, I love UCLA. I think that for right now, my dream schools are UCLA, USC, or Brown. Those are the top three. I would love to, if I got into UCLA like that, I'd just be like, oh, I mean, I took the summer class at UCLA last summer, and I absolutely loved the environment. I mean, it was over Zoom, unfortunately, so I couldn't really be there in person. Right. But I mean, the classmates were incredible. She was one of my classmates. And the teachers
this particular classmate was the best.
Yeah, and my teachers were so informative, and I loved it too. And I also did a mini class at a community college as well, and I loved that as well. So I just love learning, and I'm just excited to see what places I can go to and I can go visit. So we'll see.
I'm excited too. I got to mention my brother Steve here. He is saying, and this is just good advice for anybody. You don't have to go to Brown. You don't have to go to Texas. You don't have to go. You just go to junior college or community college in your area and spend your time. Take choir, take film, take whatever you want. And this is not advice for you ladies, just in general. Just you don't have to go to a 4-year school out of state or all this. Just go to the community college. See if the college is for you. It may not be. I love that he mentioned that, because a lot of kids get pressure to go, out of state to Oregon to go. Just chill out. Go to community college. It's still school. It's great. And there's some really, really passionate teachers at those levels. All right. Enough about that. What are you two working on now professionally?
Well, I just finished filming a film I filmed it in Thomasville, Georgia, with Mel Gibson and Josh Duhamel, called Bandit. It's an action film, and I'm very excited for people to see it. I played Mel Gibson's daughter, which is a very fun experience, and I learned a lot about just being under his wing, sort of. That was really good. That was a really good learning experience for me. Bianca, well, I'll let Bianca talk about herself. We just both came back from New Haven, filming another action film, and we can't really talk too much about what that is about because it's going to be announced hopefully this week or next week. But I'm so excited. It was such a blast to be on that set. Everybody was just so amazing there. We just finished filming our part in The Bay season 7. We went to Puerto Rico for it for 2 weeks, and then we came back and we just filmed our last part here in LA. That was super fun. And then we have some fun projects early on next year as well. Oh, Slapface, that's going to be on AMC Shudder. That just went to Grimfest in Manchester. And I love that film. It's so near and dear to my heart. And I just can't wait for everybody to see what's happening with us. You know that.
Well, while Chiara was filming Bandit, I was in Connecticut filming a movie called Call Jane with Sigourney Weaver and Elizabeth Banks about a woman in the 1960s who wants to have an abortion, but because it's before Roe versus Wade, she can't have one. So she finds an underground group of women who are willing to help her, and she becomes inspired to help others. And it is a really moving film, and I can't wait for people to see it, which I don't know when it's coming out, but I will keep you updated as I know. I'll let you know. I played Kate Mara's daughter. It was such a fun, it was a very powerful and moving experience. Everyone was just I feel like everyone was so passionate about the concept of the movie and the message of itself. Like being on set was like, everyone was so happy to be there, which made me feel happy. But yeah, that's what's going on with us.
It's an important film. One of the things, and I don't want to get too far into the abortion conversation, but abortion exists. People are going to get them. And so if you make them illegal, people are going to go get them, and it's going to be less safe. So we have to figure out something about it. And I love that you guys are telling this story, because we lose sight of that, and how dangerous it was for women through the history of history, until we started to work on this problem in a more advanced way. I want to back up and say, this is fantastic that you guys are so busy. Is it always going to be 4 or 5 projects at a time for you two? Or are you going to ease off the gas a little bit?
I hope that it's 4 or 5 for a long time. Yeah. Forever.
All right. Fair enough. If you go to college, you're going to back off the pace. Are you going to act through college then?
I don't think so.
I don't think that we're going to stop.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, auditions, they just come and go and stuff, and projects, projects are only filmed for such a short amount of time. And so if I'm really involved with my college and I talk to them about my career and I just listed everything I've done on my application, they know that I'm still working.
Right.
And so hopefully they would have an understanding, and they'll understand me working ahead a little bit and taking 2 weeks off, or doing midterms earlier, whatever the situation might be. Mm-hmm. I hope that it's they understand what's going on. But yeah, hopefully we don't stop.
Yeah. Independent study is what you're going to end up doing probably anyhow, right? And you're going to have professors that'll work with you. That'll happen for sure. What about the projects you're writing? When are you going to start taking these things out and getting them produced?
So because I'm doing all my college stuff and I'm doing extra classes to fit the college criteria, in January, I have a plan. I have an idea to write this movie, and I want to film it next spring.
Yeah.
While I'm finding out my college admission stuff. Yep. Mm-hmm. She's going to direct it. I'm going to write it. And I'm very excited. I have a plan in my head, and I'm hoping that it's out next year sometime. Hopefully we can get it edited really quickly and people can see it, because that'd be really fun. I actually wrote a short film literally in a day, and then I filmed it 2 weekends ago for my college applications. And it was Bianca wrote one too for her college as well. And I was so happy. And it's seeing your own work. It's in your own piece of your mind in front of you is so crazy. It's such an out of body experience. So yes, sorry, that was a longer answer, but next spring.
Next spring. Okay.
We love giving long answers if you haven't noticed by now. We love talking.
There's a lot to answer.
It's a show for a long conversation, so it's perfect. It's perfect. I love it. The idea of having your own project is incredible. You're obviously a producer in your own project, and you two have been around the business so long, a lot of it must just seep right into your head. But how much specific coaching do you need to learn how to look? You could say we're going to get our project done. That means you know how to get access to money, right? Because no person's going to self-fund their own project, especially early on. Or maybe you are, but you got to learn these aspects of the business. Who's teaching you this stuff?
My mom really, when we go to events, she'll be there with me. We all meet people. My mom and my dad really they taught me about business really early, because that's also when I was studying in college. And so they taught me the business side of the business and like the networking side of the business. And so it's just all about like going to these events and people you meet and going to the right events and stuff like that. And
meeting the right people. I think, you can go to so many parties and you can meet people, like have fun, but I think also meeting the right people is good too. And yeah, I mean, I honestly was not really thinking that far ahead into that. I think I was just thinking about writing it first. And then we'll see what happens.
We haven't crossed that bridge.
We haven't crossed that bridge
yet. We'll figure it out.
We'll get there. Yeah,
we'll get there. Yeah. Well, I mean, look, you can, and you two probably know most projects don't get made. And if they do get made, a lot of them take 10 years to make a movie. And so you could be talking about your first project when you're 26 instead of 16, because it's just timing and everything else. I'm curious, because you've worked with Sigourney Weaver and Mel Gibson and a long line of people who are like wonderfully knowledgeable, what kind of incredible tips have you picked up where they're like, hey, it's like I learned a lesson talking to a lot of different actors. One of them is in soaps, you look over the person's shoulder at the camera with your right eye or left eye, depending on which side of the person you were on. And I was blown away by that. And they explained why it was. Or if you're walking side by side with someone in a shot, the person on the outside has to walk faster than the person on the inside. So the person on the inside has to turn to slightly slower. So the person on the outside isn't like trying to keep up, right? Because that makes it hard to make the shot look right. What are some of these very, very particular skills that you've been taught by Mel or by Sigourney or somebody else?
So Mel Gibson, because I played his daughter, I got to really get to know him, and I worked with him for a couple days. And one of the things is that he loves to improv. He loves to improv. And I'm always
on your toes.
Yeah,
I
keeping
think
me on my
that's
toes.
the best thing he taught.
And I'm always prepared for any situation. But in this one, when you have to be really good at improv and always thinking about the next thing to say. And so sometimes Mel and I would go off the script a little bit, and he would always tell me to just keep yourself on your toes and just, I'm going to throw you something and you have to say something back in return. I'm like, okay. And so like in the 5 seconds that I have before they close this, I'm like, oh shoot, what do I say? But I'm like, oh, you know what? I have to stay in my character. And what would my character say after her dad tells her what line it is? And, it was really interesting. And sometimes he would say things or do things that would take me by surprise. And I sort of had to keep myself in and like be the daughter and be like, okay, like this is normal, So I think that's the best thing that I learned from him.
Mm-hmm.
Same answer for both of you?
I was there. I saw it. Yeah. And he was really nice. I would say that's some good advice.
Yeah. Keep yourself on your toes.
Yeah. Always keep yourself on the toes.
Yeah. And then what other things outside of acting? I know you two, like your mom does charity work, so you guys must be doing the same kind of things. What kind of causes are important to you? Let's talk about those.
Well, Operation Blankets of Love and ASPCA, we are huge rescue dog fans. We rescue so many dogs. When I was a baby or maybe like a year old, I think my family had 6 dogs at once, and they were all rescue dogs. And we believe in adopt, don't shop. And so one day, I've always said this. I would love to open like the Animal Foundation, like the Animal Rescue Foundation. And that's one of the things I'm hoping in like the future. I have to be a little bit more established first, but I've always given back, And during the holidays, I always give toys, blankets, food for both cats and dogs, and just anything to keep those animals entertained and safe while they are in their place. Anti-bullying. We are ambassadors for the Boot to Bullying organization. We were on the board of directors, but then the pandemic happened and our schedule just became too crazy. So it was really hard to keep up with it. So we stepped down respectfully, and we still are ambassadors. We still are super close with everybody on board today. And we were bullied, and we still are being bullied on social media. It's so easy nowadays for people to just make a comment. So we used to go around schools and just talk about bullying. And I loved doing that because I got to talk to kids, and especially because kids were in regular school and I was homeschooled, and I got to see how some kids acted towards each other, and I just did not really like what I was seeing. And so I get to talk to them one-on-one and as a kid to a kid and understand that perspective. And Alzheimer's Association, my grandmother has Alzheimer's. And so we really believe in just donating, and hopefully one day we will find a cure. Right. And it's just, it's a terrible disease. And hopefully one day people see the end of it.
Yeah, that's good. It's good that you guys are developing a powerful charitable charter now. I always say any person who's adult enough to take care of themselves and they've got most of their problems sort of under control. We never get them licked, but you need to start working on helping other folks, and whether you're doing dog rescue or human rescue or whatever it is, taking care of rare cactus in the desert, great. Do something to try to make the planet a better place. Do you two feel the pressure to make money yet? Like, oh my God, I've got these bills I got to pay, I've got to help my folks, that kind of thing. How is that for you?
Honestly, I honestly don't really like feeling pressure in that area now. I think the only thing is just getting my schoolwork done on time. And, I want to maintain good grades. I think that's like the only two things that like, I'm like,
my parents were like, we'll worry about this. You worry about your grades. And that's kind of like, they do help me with my schoolwork, but like, it's really like, we'll worry about this. We'll keep you out of this. You work on that. And so, it's a kind of an interesting question, because I try to, like I say, we talk about a lot. I focus on my education, and my parents worry about the other stuff. And I don't know. I haven't felt that much yet. And I don't know if that's bad or I don't know.
No. Yeah. But we have an unconventional job. Most kids are age have a regular job, but for us, as actors, young actors, you don't have it like every single day. It's sort of like a job that you have to work hard for it, and then when you get it, it's like that solid several weeks or to a month experience, and then you have to just work from there.
Yeah, and it's good that you don't have the pressure of money yet. It's that's a very good thing, and hopefully someone's managing your money with you in a way that makes some kind of sense, because you're so young now. And the money you make, you've been working for almost 20 years. It's so crazy,
That's what we're gonna say. I've been working for almost 20 years. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I know, but it's true. Look, and I know you got a little ways to go before you're working in the business for 20 years, but before you know it, you graduate from college, you're going to be really close to 20 years in the business, right? That's crazy. That money, you've developed a lot of potential comfort in the future, because you'll have something set aside. How do you mean your attachment to reality? Like Jim Carrey's a great example. That guy's bananas. He's wonderful. He's super talented, but he has not needed a dollar in so long. He's got no sense for what real people's problems are. How do you two stay grounded?
I think just staying educated on what's going on and
helping whatever you can,
and also reading. I read journals. I read articles, so I understand what's going on in our current day and age. And then I read books from different perspectives. And I think that that's my only way to get in touch with reality. I still am a minor. I'm still a younger person. And so I don't understand those problems yet. I know those problems will happen, and I know I will understand those problems when I'm a little bit older, but I need to learn about them now so I can understand how other people are feeling.
Yeah. That's a great answer. What question should I have asked you two that I haven't asked?
Oh God.
Honestly, you've asked
a lot of really interesting questions that have never been asked before. I was like, oh.
Well, I'm not going to treat you like your kids. You're not quite adults, but you're adult in so many ways. I'm just trying to treat you like that. I actually this Friday I'll be at my high school, and I'll be talking to the seniors that are getting ready to graduate, and I treat them the same way. I'm like, these are the real things. For folks that don't have acting for a job, they're racing to get through college so they can go get a job where they have to drive an hour and a half to go see a boss that doesn't think that they do enough work, for not quite enough money. Don't race to that, And by the way, this is real Pete advice to you too. Go study abroad for a semester. I don't care if it screws up all the rest of your plans. Go study abroad. Go to Paris, go to London, go wherever it is, and do that. Every single person I know that has done that has always said it's one of the best decisions in their life. So listen to all those really smart people and go study abroad. Okay. Make it part of your thing.
My sister studied abroad in Florence for a semester, and she loved it. She absolutely loved Florence. So, no, I've heard that before. So, no, I think maybe when I'm more settled into college, probably junior year, I might consider doing it. It just really depends on what's happening with my career at that time. It's all up in the air. Who knows?
I'm going to tell you right now, your career will be fine. Go study abroad. I'm doing it, and just pick your spot and go. And then, you're going to get a chance to do a lot of things in a lot of exotic locations, but not in this setting where you're just unencumbered. You can go be you and go explore. That's what you're supposed to do when you're young. Any final thoughts? Any final comments before I shut this thing down?
No, you have twisted my brain in so many different directions.
My head was, I was thinking a lot.
This preparing me for the college interviews that I have this week.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you. This is a little prep session.
That's right. I used all of my spy skills on you guys. All right, stand by. Hey, thanks for watching the show. I really appreciate it. Right here, you can subscribe. Please do that. It makes the show grow. Hit that notification bell so you know which incredible guest is coming up next. Down below is the PayPal link. You can put a small subscription in. That is an enormous help. All that money goes right back into the show. And then right up over here are the next episodes you should listen to, curated by yours